And away we go. It is the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, live from the Cincy Light Studios right here on BearcatJournal.com. Baseball season. Everybody at some point is going to be down and around the banks. So while you're there, stop in. See the best sports bar in the city of Cincinnati. They will get you taken care of. Great food. Love the pizza. Chicken wings are on point. I know the Reuben wontons are always a favorite. And, of course, ice cold drinks, including Cincy Light on tap every 50 cents. Every Cincy Light you purchase, 50 cents will be donated back into the Cincy Reigns NIL Collective. All right, let's get this show on the road. Oh, it's an exciting week around here. The crown is in play. I've got Butler and Boise State on the TV right now.
You, sir, are a masochist.
I haven't watched a second of it. I couldn't tell you the score. I guess it's probably about halftime. I don't know. But it is on just because there's nothing else on. So that was the channel I put it on.
Knicks Cavs.
So yeah, it's a big week here in Cincinnati for UC basketball as they try to become the inaugural crown champions. Dave, I know that is very exciting for you.
Yeah, I won't lie and say I didn't watch any of it the other day. It was on. I did see some of the second half. Other than that, that's about it. You guys were on Monday night. You were talking interest level. Mine is 0.00. A full-on Blutarski is where my interest in the crown lies.
At least I will say this, and we'll get to this stuff in a little bit.
That whole pressing and running stuff was interesting, though.
Yeah, they did a little pressing, did a little trapping. But the first 8 minutes were really difficult to watch.
A Temu tournament to pull that out, but
the first 8 minutes were very difficult to watch. I will say they played pretty good. They played pretty good the final 30 minutes. Like they were active. They got up and down the floor. They made some shots. It was at least that segment, the last 30 minutes of the game was aesthetically pleasing. The first 8 minutes, I literally was like looking for things to poke my eyes out with.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many platitudes I'm going to give them for running arguably the worst high major program in the last decade out of the gym.
I mean, they're bad. They're bad. Like it's
the one dude that was their leading scorer didn't even have his name on the back of his jersey. It
was we made it through, and then tomorrow night we'll make it through again, especially that heated Johnny Dawkins Central Florida rivalry.
I feel like it needs to move to noon on ESPNU for some old throwback AAC action.
Yeah, noon on ESPN Plus or 11 a.m. ESPN Plus game, which would be what, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. in Vegas. They were hard to watch the first 10 minutes. You are absolutely, like I said yesterday, Dave. If this is 54-53 Cincinnati wins and we have to do this again, but again, they played well for the final 30 minutes, so it restored my faith in being able to consume the product, because I was not going to be happy if that was an old UC DePaul Big East rock fight, Mick Cronin's first 3 years, where it was like there were a couple games, Dave, I'm not going to lie. My first season doing this was Mick's first season. So the first season in the Big East. And I think there were 3 home games where I just like, I wasn't writing at the time. I was like shooting video highlights and like starting up some of the new media stuff that eventually we like really got into. And I just left. Like Todd Cunningham owned the site at that time. And it would be like the early in the second half, and UC'd be down 30, and I'd just be like, all right, brother, I'm gonna go.
Well, I'm pretty sure what the first year in the Big East, they didn't make the Big East tournament. Yeah. And then the second year they lost to DePaul in the first game of the tournament.
And I think that was the year DePaul hadn't won a game in the Big East. And then they beat UC in the first round of the tournament, something like that.
Like
there were a couple times
it was on a Wednesday
like,
MSG.
I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. I got to go.
Well, yeah.
I have anything else to do.
I will be I'll be watching through the Twitter tomorrow night. I'll certainly not be watching it on my television.
Tim, guys are not flying off the board. Take a deep breath. There's like 10 guys that have committed at the high major level.
There's like 1,300 dudes in the portal or something.
It's way more than that. It's like 1,800 dudes.
I see. I'm not paying that much attention. So
the portal is being worked. They are active. We will get to that in a little bit. I know everybody's anxious. I know everybody's ready to get started.
Don't get bonus points for like getting guys right now.
No, I mean,
sure, get the right dude.
Like, I mean, yeah, that's more important.
It's what I mean. I'm not going to keep harping on it, but like the whole equity thing, like I don't care if they had 5 guys today. It wouldn't change my opinion on anything. Like whoever Wes and them feel are the right guys, I don't care how long it takes them to get them. Just get whoever you feel are the right guys.
I also think a lot of overpaying is going on right now, and Cincinnati is not in a position to do that. If we're being honest with ourselves, they're just not.
Well, no one ever should be. Like, regardless of
there are schools that are.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, regardless of your lot in life, you shouldn't pay more for something than you have to.
But when everybody is trying to burn through the hole, burn a hole in their pocket. Yeah. I was telling Dave this earlier. I'm not going to get into specifics, but there was a guy at the very beginning of last week, like right when the portal opened, that, Cincinnati reached out. There was interest. The talk was about $1.2 million, $1.3 million. Was going to be the price tag for this player. Good player I like. Forward, I guess would be the right description of 4. Set everything up. We're going to come out and visit. Agreed on like this is the price that we're talking about. And then like 36 hours later, it had gone from 1.2, 1.3 million to over 2. Like just $2 million to get in the door. I was like, well, I guess Cincinnati's canceling some flights because they were in position to pay 1.2. That they weren't in position to spend an extra $800,000 on a player they valued at 1.2. But that's the market right now, and I think there's a bunch of different ways to do this. We've talked about that. No, it wasn't Comwell. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. I don't think if you're in a situation where if you've got 8 to 10 or 10 plus $1 million, you can be a little bit more fast and loose. If you've got 6, 7, best case is what I've heard, and you overpay by $800,000 for a guy, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense for trying to build an actual competitive roster.
Sorry.
That's all right. I will. Yeah, no, 6-7 for the roster, Tim. The entire roster. That is not 6 to 7 for the portal. Like this is what they have to spend on however many of the 15 spots that they want to use. And that's where they're at. I mean, I would much prefer to be covering a team that had $10-12 million and was overpaying guys by $500,000, $1 million just to make sure they got, a guy that they wanted. But that's not the situation the Bearcats are in. It has nothing to do with playing in the Crown tournament. It has nothing to do with whether guys have entered the portal or not. It is a market right now that is not great if you're sitting there in kind of that mid-price range, mid-price point for what your roster is. Dan needs a lot more than playing pickup games over the summer. Just leave it.
I think we're kind of to the. I think we're kind of to the peak there. I'm not sure how much more developing there is to be done, but
I think there's more developing to be done. I just don't know that he has the dog in him to do it. Like he got to the, I don't want to say the easy part, right? But like he is very athletic, he's very gifted physically. That only takes you so far. And then there's a level that you have to accomplish yourself that maximizes those skills. I would be very surprised if we're talking much about Dan Skillings 2 weeks from now. I'll just give that, take that how you will.
Yeah, I think. No, good. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, just like I understand totally get the fan reaction because you're expecting to have to fill a bunch of spots, and you see good players or players that you think might work, and even though it's been, of the guys that I would actually look at and go, yeah, I would like that guy on the team, it's single digits that have decided on where they want to go. But to me, it's just like, it's kind of like the deadlines make deals. They're not like, I'm just going to wait and just watch the roster be built. And then we're going to come on this podcast in probably a month and a half, theoretically speaking, that's probably when 95% of things will be in place. Wouldn't you say? I mean, Dylan last year was early May, right? But he was seemed like one of the last guys of impact to make a decision. So we're probably looking at, May 15th. We're talking a month and a half. I'm going to come on here and I'm going to go, the two things we talked about the most, or the three things we talked about the most. A big that is skilled, a big that can bang, some sort of guard / wing that can score, and some dudes that got some dog in them. And we're just going to sit here and go right down the list. And I'm going to ask you, because you know more about these guys than me, I'm going to go, did we accomplish that? And we're either going to say, yeah, we think so, or no, we didn't. So stressing out about who's going here or what right now is kind of irrelevant, because if there was a guy that I really thought that they could get, that they were seriously in on, not like the Woolley kid who I really, really like, or Yoxtiel Lindeborg who I really, really like. Like, I would love to know what Louisville paid the Kennesaw State kid to get a kid from Alabama who would
from Tuscaloosa,
who would walk into Mark Sears, arguably Mark Sears, or the backup's really good too. But he's starting at guard for Alabama next year, or he's starting at guard for Auburn next year. Like, what did Louisville pay him for him to not even entertain either of those situations?
Dave, the kid was from Tuscaloosa, and he graduated from Paul Bear Bryant High School.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to Alabama?
So, so that's why I'm not if we get to the point where it's like multiple dudes were in their top 4, top 6, they visited, and then they pick other schools, then I think it's fair to start going, okay, now we know we're going to our second and our third choices. But right now, it feels kind of, emotion for the sake of emotion and not really, level-headedness in really truly reading the situation. Knowing that UC has to be fiscally responsible. And a lot of the teams that are in portal right now don't. And it sucks to be in that position, but I would absolutely love them to pay $3 million for Yaxiel Lindebort. But that would be dumb because they still have to fill 8 other spots plus retain guys. So Is that really doable? No, it's not. In my mock general manager seat, I'd be like, sure, we'll just piece it together with the rest of it. But that probably doesn't win more than 7 Big 12 games.
Probably
and
not.
let's be real, guys. Wes Miller knows. He knows.
He does.
I'm sure it's a hard situation to go through of I have to nail this. And I would love to give some of these guys more to get them. But if I don't nail this, I'm out of a job. So,
got to get it right.
He could pay. I'm sure he could pay some of these guys that have already declared to other schools. He could pay them the same or more than they're getting at those schools. But is that the right move to put a team on the floor next year that makes the tournament and keeps his job? It's probably not.
I can tell you that they are well aware they have to get this right. They have to get this right. They know that they have fallen short in the past 2 years in this league because they didn't have the right mix of roster construction. They didn't have the right mix to get over the finish line. And too many of these games that would have changed the complexion of the season, would have changed the fans' viewpoint on Wes Miller, you name it, the whole 9 yards. So it's a lot. It's going to be a heck of a task. I personally get the feeling that they're kind of in Zach Grant, Jack Griffith mode right now, where they don't want anybody to know anything about what's going on in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati war room. Because, like I said, there was a situation last week where $1.2 million. Okay, cool. We're in. Not that they were going to get the kid, but a lot of the ways that this works is the agent will say, here's where we're at. Are you willing to play ball at that number? The opening bid of an auction. Are you in for 1.2 million? Yes, we're in for 1.2 million. All right, now the bidding starts. Well, the bidding got up to 2 million on that one. And Cincinnati didn't raise their little paddle anymore. And that was probably a top 40 type, top 30 type transfer portal guy. So that's a lot of where the market's at. Now, do you need a top 50 guy? Sure would be nice. Do you have to have one? No. But boy, you better get 1 or 2 in the top 100, because that's exactly what we talked about last year. Is the roster did not have enough oomph at the top. And we talked about it in the preseason. It played out throughout the season that in this league, a bunch of 125 to 200 guys is not going to get the job done. No, Jordan. No. No. Donovan Dent was getting $2 million from the day he announced his transfer. Look at the schools that were involved.
UCLA probably paid him at least $2 million, and they got a discount because he's from there and his high school teammate is on the team.
Right.
If that wasn't the case, the winner of that sweepstakes was going 2-5-3 easy.
there were 3 teams seriously involved with Donovan Dent.
Yeah.
UCLA, Duke, and Kentucky. To give you an idea of where that one was at. He was supposed to come to Xavier.
Yeah. I had a better chance of suiting up for them next year than Donovan Dent did.
What I think it was like Seth Greenberg caused that whole stink.
What? He honestly said that Donovan Dent might follow Pitino?
No, he said Donovan Dent, Xavier will get New Mexico point guard Donovan Dent because they hired Rick Pitino.
Right.
Seth Greenberg is also the absolute worst analyst in all of college basketball.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there's worse.
No, there's not. I really don't think there is.
I mean, some of those dudes that called those old AAC games, come on.
Those weren't analysts though. Those were like TV, like game guy. I'm talking about guys that sit in the studio and talk about the sport like they're like experts. Yeah. You got me, Wolfie. Doug Gottlieb's a coach now. And nobody
and a coach and podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be going well.
Dan Dockich. You got me on that one. Dan Dockich is so popular, nobody will hire him.
But yeah, I mean, it's free. I mean, it's free agency. Like, it's everything that we always talk about. I don't like it. But that the toothpaste is not going back in the tube. I don't know how much we'll see. How much does the whole rev share thing change things? I'm not really sure it will, because you're gonna tell me that my Vol army is just gonna stop donating because the university is now spending money on players. Like, the university that routinely brings in $30+ million in athletic donations a year is just going to stop because they're like, oh, now the university will cover it. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm not really sure how much things are going to change.
It's going to get worse. I mean,
yeah, because now it's just fun money.
We're also going to get to you're already seeing the conversation center around, we'll just go back to doing it illegally, because if you're really going to try to put the toothpaste back in the tube on NIL and make it be quote unquote true NIL, that's going to have to go through Deloitte to be
verified that it's on the up and up.
Yeah. Good luck. Yeah.
How many weeks ago did I say that? I liked it better when you could just cheat.
Yeah, that's all it is now is legal cheating. And they're trying to regulate legal cheating. Like, that's as stupid as it sounds. I think Aaron and I will have a little bit more on that on the nightcap tonight, so I don't want to get into it too much here on the article that came out today about a lot of this, about the true NIL and what determines fair market value, and is fair market value, they realize, just quickly on this,
what determines fair market value is what one person is willing to pay you.
And also, they realize what they're creating with that, right? Because guess what? Fair market value in LA is a lot different than fair market value in Auburn, Alabama.
Right.
And it might not favor LA. Because guess what? A Jonai broom at Alabama might be way more valuable to a car dealership in Auburn, Alabama than Adam Mara was at a car dealership in Los Angeles.
Just the tax purposes.
Right.
I mean, these are contracts, just like professional athletes. Like, you get drafted by the Chargers or the Jets versus getting drafted by the Cowboys or the Titans. and your first contract is not the same because of tax purposes.
It's so silly. Like the whole thing. Will college basketball kids start getting hit with jock tax? No, they're just going to get hit with regular tax, Jordan.
Well, but I mean, like the NFL players get hit with every state that they play in.
Yeah, they have to play. Yeah, that's what I guess that's what he's talking about. Is the like when you play an away game, you get a game check. That's the thing that's not happening right now. Is there's not game checks.
Right.
These are mostly like lump sum or monthly type payments. Where in the NFL they get paid per game.
Yeah.
So if you play a game, if you're in Cincinnati and you play a game in Los Angeles, you have to pay the tax in Los Angeles.
Actually, I learned this the other day. I didn't know this. Ted Karras was on the McAfee show, and he said they get some payments in the offseason now. So, like, it does matter. It's not just the 17 game checks anymore. So it does matter, like, what team you're playing for, because like those off-season checks, you get dinged way more if you're in like New York and California versus Florida, Texas, Tennessee.
Yeah, no state income tax. Everybody's going to want to go where there's no state income tax, so they don't have to pay $600,000. Oh, the eligibility question. I think that is why one of the main reasons they are fighting making eligibility or athletes employees, because if you make them an employee, there is age discrimination that comes into play where you can't, like, okay, you're 25, it's time for you to move on with your life. No, I don't want to. I want to stay here and make $400,000 playing basketball for the next 7 years. It's a mess. It's all a mess. Like that's that's the hardest part about like digging into the weeds of this is there's a lot of weeds. There's a lot of weeds that you got to dig into to really get to the bottom of all of this. But on the Cincinnati front, I will just say we are talking about a lot of this stuff on Bearcat Journal. I am giving a lot of information there. A lot of you have asked about Jizzle. I know there have been people that have put Jizzle on, transfer portal watch lists. My opinion is I think Jizzle James will be back at Cincinnati next year.
Let's timestamp that. That is as of April 2nd, 8:35 p.m.
Right. Now, is that a guarantee? No, nothing is a guarantee. But that is my opinion based on conversations and information that I have. I think Jizzle will be a Bearcat. Do I fully 100% agree with that? If I knew the exact dollar amount that was going to Jizzle James, maybe I would have a better feeling on that. I don't think he's taking a pay cut if he's to stay from what he got this year. I would assume he is going to get a pay raise of some sort because the market dictates that he's going to get a pay raise. But without knowing exactly what the slice of the pie looks like, I couldn't tell you specifically my opinion on it, but I do think odds are in favor. What did I say on the board the other day? More likely than not that Jizzle is a Bearcat next year. Yesterday's price ain't today's price. And that Jordan, that is literally what is happening right now in the transfer portal. And it's actually the noon price is not the 4 p.m. price in some of these situations. So
yeah, I mean,
I get why fans are frustrated.
And that's why that's part of the reason that Wes and those guys are probably so tight-lipped about things is because let's just say X player we can get for $500K. Well, Y team might also like him, but maybe not as much as UC. But they're like, well, I mean, like we've got twice as much money as UC, and let's just offer him $250,000 more, and then maybe we'll take him.
because Cincinnati's not going to be able to go an extra 250.
He might not have the same. He might not have the same role with that other team, but like, do they care? They're like, no, we got a player that we liked, and all we had to do was pay him a little bit more to keep him from somebody else. Like, sure, whatever.
Yeah. So it's a frustrating time if you're. I mean, if you're not a fan of somebody,
there's certainly things working in their favor, like Tim mentioned. I mean, we will have playing time. They are in the Big 12. Like, they're not, and we've talked about this so many times. It's like, because they failed to meet expectations, it became like this was a disaster season. It wasn't. It was very close to being a quality season. So, and let's be honest, like, I'm not going to disparage anybody that might enter the portal from UC, but it's kind of like the old Bengals of like, can't believe they let that guy go. They should. I'm like, they didn't win any games with him. So it's like, are you really going to be that upset if some of these guys end up leaving? Like, and then, no, I'm not. So on to, I'm giving these guys a chance to put it together. And I mean, I said it however long ago that was when I kind of went off a little bit. It was just like, let me know January 1st. I'll give you an idea. Because like, it kind of doesn't matter to me until then.
Yeah. Jordan, the other thing, like both Jizzle and Day back need new life. Like, okay, you might, depending on a different roster around them, you might get new life. You might have a big that commands more attention that allows them for more space, allows them to do what they do a little bit better off the dribble, because as we talked about, like, it's no secret, Cincinnati didn't have anybody you had to defend when they threw the ball into the post. Like, they didn't throw the ball into the post. So
yeah, I'm totally fine with if both those guys come back, I'm totally fine with it, because they have shown not consistently enough, and that's the step that they need to take. But like, they are quality Big 12 guards. Like, they can play in the Big 12. It's, what are you asking them to do? Like, that's me. Put some better pieces or more pieces that fit properly around them, and you're not asking them to probably do what we were asking them to do this year.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's not a 1-to-1 for me of like, well, they're coming back and they weren't good enough this year. Well, we were probably asking them to do things that in an ideal situation that we wouldn't ask them to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you want to be like a 6'1" and under guard dominant team shooting a high percentage of 17-foot jumpers. And if maybe you have a big that's halfway decent or a wing that is halfway decent, you're probably not reliant on them doing that.
Well, the other thing that like doesn't get talked a lot about, like the mid-range merchant stuff. If they're what if you have a big that commands a little bit more attention, and now they're taking 12-footers instead of pull-up 17-footers, because the defense has to react differently to, a guard getting into that mid-range area. I'd much rather those two guys are pulling up for open 12-footers than pulling up for contested 17, 18-footers.
Yeah, I mean, they were an easy team to guard, because especially once Dan went in the tank, like, what were you worried about? You were worried about a bunch of jump shots from those guys? I'd let them shoot those all day. You weren't worried about them throwing it inside. You weren't worried about a guy that could get a bunch of fouls on your bigs. Like, you weren't really worried about them offensively.
David.
Yeah.
If they make the tourney in 2016, do you want West back the next year?
I mean, how can I can't. I would be one of the fringers that is like, I mean, I couldn't possibly sit here and say like fire him. That's a that's a hard thing to do.
The guy gets over the hump, makes the tournament, and now you fire him? Like, that doesn't seem like the appropriate time to fire him.
Send out I mean, I could probably still formulate an argument, but I would be
depending on
right.
Like, I mean, if they're a first four,
right?
Like, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of my thing. Like with football, like bowl eligibility is not good enough for me this year. So it's kind of similar with basketball. Great, you made a 68 team tournament, and you were in the first four, or you were a 10 or seed or 9 seed, and you lost in the first game. Like, I would probably say, like, that's not good enough for year 5. Like, we probably need to go in a new direction, but that's a long time from now. And a lot of, I have to see how it plays out. Like, it's not a blanket yes or no.
Yeah, like, how did they end up at that spot? Like, what got them? What are the situations surrounding that?
Yeah. So
Hickman following Adams to IU. We'll see. I don't think so, but
Hickman follow anyone anywhere? Like, is he allowed to play anymore?
He has to get a waiver.
Right.
So my guess would be that would make it very difficult to leave Cincinnati right now, because Cincinnati would be the medical staff that would
pushing you, like on your side for the waiver.
Right.
The Indiana medical staff probably not going to be able to help you get a waiver.
Well, yeah, they might want to help you, but they don't have the information necessary to help you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Jizzle and Day are known commodities, could do a lot worse. Like, I tend to agree with that in a broad scope. But they've been your 2 lead guards for 2 years, where you finished with 7 wins in the Big 12 conference.
Yeah.
So
I think that's my thing, is like, I'm fine with them back, but I want to see the rest of the roster. Are they back as the focal point, or are they back as nice complementary pieces to, significant upgrades?
Yeah.
That, like I said, let's talk in May. And then if we're sitting here talking about, like, oh, they didn't really do the things we hoped, so that means Jizzle and Day are going to have to get better and carry the load again, then I'm going to be like, not optimal, Jim.
Right. Not great, Bob.
I mean, it's kind of like to Jordan's question, is like, I am kind of, what I am kind of worried about? I am kind of worried about the dead cat bounce. Where it's like, you get one more year, you make the tournament, and now we sign you to another extension because you can't be sitting on a 3-year deal. And then I'm like, it's kind of like in football when you don't fire the coach and then he ends up winning like the last 2 or 3 games and you get stuck keeping him. So I wish, whatever. They didn't. I'm not.
Like Luke Fickell at Wisconsin.
They didn't make a move. I'm not going to rehash it. I said what I said, however, a month or so ago. So we're onward and upward.
Jordan, I'm not going to tell you who the player was at this point. Maybe some point in time down the road, I will tell you who the player was. But I will. It was not Jonathan Powell. It would no. I'm wondering what the hell UNC is doing with that one. Personally, I was not a big Jonathan Powell guy. Yeah.
Sounds like they're going to get Henry Vesser too.
That one I like. Like, that's really
but like, good... why is he like? I mean, these are the transfers that just don't make sense. Arizona took him, has a record of developing bigs. He was injured. They developed him, and now he just goes into the portal for a coach probably that's in the same situation as Wes, like, which he doesn't care, I guess, but like,
right,
like what? That's like, you have, I don't know. These things just do not. Some of these things just do not make sense.
No, they don't. They don't.
Like, your next year of basketball is going to be more successful and more enjoyable at North Carolina than Arizona. I just find that so hard to believe. And I also find it hard to believe that they're going to pay him so much more than Arizona would that it makes the decision like a no-brainer. Yeah, so, but I mean, hey, these guys do whatever you
do. MA, look, I get it, man. But like, this is a podcast where we talk about things UC related. So if you're disenchanted with anything Wes is doing, why are you listening to a podcast? Why are you listening to a podcast that is talking about the things that Wes is doing? That's the part I don't understand.
I mean, I'm not far off. I'm only doing this because you pay me. I haven't really watched any basketball since the Kansas State game. Like, I mean, it is the benefit of knowing you. I don't have to comb the board and the threat and Twitter. Like, you'll just tell me who I need to pay attention to. So, like, I'm that's why I've said, like, tell me what the roster is, and I'll have an opinion on it. I'm not going to track it day to day and get worked up over this guy said this or this guy committed, like, and then I want to see the non-conference schedule because I think it needs to be not a murderer's row, but I think it needs to be a little bit more daunting, and then see how that goes, and then wake me up in January, and when so what the day-to-day just doesn't, I almost related to like the Trey Hendrickson contract situation with the Bengals, of all these Bengals fans on Twitter that just lose their mind every time something is said or not done or done. And I'm just like, that's just so much wasted energy on something that you, one, have no control over, and two, it's either like the guy's either going to get extended or he's not. They're not going to trade him. It's like Wes is going to put together a roster. We're either going to think it's good or not, and then we just have to sit here and wait to watch him play games. So, like, who's in the portal today versus tomorrow and who signs with, like, it doesn't matter to me. It's fun to track and talk about, but, like, it is of no consequence as fans. Like, we should not be so tied to the sausage getting made. And I feel like fandom has gotten to that point where, like, fans almost care more about the process than the actual games.
Yeah, they want to know about how the sausage is made and not how the sausage tastes.
Like, I don't care. Get me a good roster. Win fucking basketball games. Do it however you have to do it. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Like, so what happens today, is not necessarily on my radar. I mean, if they sign a guy we'll obviously talk about it and we'll give our opinions, but I still need to know 6 or 7 other positions, 6 or 7 other guys to see how that even fits in to, because we might talk about a guy in one way, but that's not the way they see it. And then other additions change how we view that addition.
Right. It's about how the roster is built, it's about, I mean, we've talked a million times over the last couple years about pieces and parts and how things fit together. And, you've got the engine, but you don't have the wheels, or however many different ways we've described this thing being put back together since John Branham was fired. Ultimately, they've not found that right mix of retention and addition and subtraction and who to move on from and who to keep and who to bring in. Like, there's what competing at the top of this league actually looks like, because essentially what they've done is they built a middle, like right below the middle of the conference type roster. And the problem with that is you get yourself into the variance because you're with a bunch of other teams that also have those type of rosters, which ultimately means you're not going to beat the top of the league. You're going to get a win or two over teams that are built a little bit better than you, have a little bit more money to spend than you, but you're also going to be fighting for your life against West Virginia and Kansas State. And like, it's an untenable place to be.
They're playing, because for 2 years in a row, they've had to play the margin so tight. And they haven't had, they don't have the talent to do that. Like, the variables are too far apart. Like, you can go on a nice little run for a week or two, which we saw, but then the talent's not good enough to sustain that. And we've seen, especially the last 2 years, outside of whatever they have on BYU and at Texas Tech last year, like, they're not beating. Baylor, I guess, was a tournament. They were a tournament team. They won a game, but like, they have not jumped up and gotten any what I would call truly marquee win.
Right, like the top 5 of the league.
Like, no,
they have not gotten any of those.
BYU win was nice, but like no one around the country is going, damn, Cincinnati just took out BYU. No one said that.
Right. Well, also, after that, BYU won like 9 of 10, 10 of 11, something like that. Like, that was a different BYU team after the Cincinnati loss. Mm-hmm. Joe, this one, it's another one that, like, nobody, we don't make excuses for anyone. Those people don't pay me. I'm not making excuses for people that aren't giving me money. We will give you reasons. We will give you opinions. We will give you observations. Nobody's making an excuse for anybody. I'm not on Wes Miller's payroll. If I was, maybe I would. If he wants to throw me a couple grand a month, I'll start making some excuses for people. But the thing is, Joe, like, we have a lot of hours to fill here on this network.
We have to do this every Wednesday.
And I have to do it on Mondays. And then we have nightcaps all the time. And then we have post-game shows that we have to do. Like, we got a lot of air to fill. We're going to talk about reasons and opinions. And you might not agree with them, and that's fine. But I always hear that, like, you're just making excuses. Like, no, they're not paying me. I get paid more if they get fired. That's the reality, my reality. When coaches get fired, Bearcat Journal makes a lot of money.
Oh, here you go. UCF transfer Keyshawn Hall has signed with Auburn. That's a stunner. I mean, he still might go enter the draft, but I mean that's a $2+ million buy.
Drew, I'm not bitching about anything. What are you talking about? I'm so confused.
He's been at 4 schools? No way.
Yeah.
I thought he was a freshman.
No. He's been a problem at a bunch of places.
UNLV, a GM that I don't even know what logo that is. UCF, and now Auburn.
George Mason, I think.
It's not their logo.
No, it's not?
I mean, unless they changed it. It's not one that I recognize. Could be.
And MA, that's where Dave's at. Like, I think that's where a lot of people are at. Like, but we still, like, we're still going to do these shows, so we have to talk about roster construction. And, like, but I think everybody is at the point of, like, okay, you've had a couple turns in the Big 12. You've had a couple chances to see, like, what the league looks like and what the league is about and what the challenges are to go from, even going from 12 to 7 changes everything that we're talking about. But that's a lot bigger jump, I think, than people realize, because it either means A, beating a couple of those teams that are in the top 5, or it means B, doing significantly better against those teams that are in the same tax bracket.
To me, that's the thing, is like, I want to jump up and beat the Houstons and the Kansas and but if you told me we're just not going to lose to the Kansas States and the Oklahoma States, and then I would just be okay, fine, because you're gonna make the tournament doing that. Now it's a harder needle to thread to say we're just not going to lose to any teams that are similar to us,
right,
or even lower than us in a conference that is outside of Houston. I think, and Texas Tech was pretty bunched from like 3 to the bottom. But like, that's a harder needle to thread. But if that's been the problem the last 2 years, it hasn't been that they didn't have the marquee wins. It's that they just had too many middle of the road losses. I mean, we're not going to rehash all of them, but I mean, there's double-digit losses combining
last year alone,
the last 2 years.
Last year alone, not this past season, but the season before that, the first year in the Big 12. If they take care of business, West Virginia at home and Oklahoma State at the end of the year, they finish 9-9 and they probably make the tournament.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And then this year, it's, the 2 losses against West Virginia, the 2 losses against Kansas State, like that stuff, Oklahoma State to end the season, like that is the type of stuff that is keeping them from getting where they want to be. And that's where the roster construction has to get right. Because I think that's what's costing them in those moments is not having the right pieces to ensure that you're not stuck in those games. And you're going to have a clunker here and there.
Well,
it's not that it happened occasionally. It's that it happened too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've noted, and this is where, like, I want to know makeup of dudes more than, like, stats, because I was on this train from the very beginning. I didn't think this team was very tough. And I didn't think they had the requisite leadership, and you can, whatever word you want to use. They did not win a game in the Big 12 after they lost the game. There was no, like, we cannot let this turn into a losing streak mentality. Every loss was followed with at least one more loss.
Right.
So, find me some dudes that have some, what. And, like, yes, of course, we need guys that can score and rebound and do all those things. But, like, who is taking ownership of this roster? Yeah. In my mind, it's hard to just bring in like 6 or 7 dudes from other teams and expect those guys to take ownership of the roster. So whoever comes back, who is taking ownership of this roster? Who are those pieces that just say, like, I hate losing more than anything? I think it's a terrible cliche of, like, do you hate losing more than you like winning? But, like, who are the guys that are gonna be like, we lost. We're not losing 2 in a row. We've lost 2 in a row. There is no freaking way we're losing 3 in a row. That just was totally vacant on this year's roster.
Yeah. Here's the other thing that was annoying to me, Dave. Like, we talk about this a lot, and this is a league where you can play well and lose. I think last year we had that. I don't think this year I walked out of many of those losses going, damn, they played pretty good, but just went the other way. Like the other team, like the Texas game last year. Like they had a couple bounces and Ace
even the Kansas game last year at Kansas, like they didn't play bad.
No. They just lost a close game against a really good team. I didn't feel that this year.
Virtually never loses at home. So, like, I mean, definitely, like, you're right on there. I mean,
that was the frustrating part with most of this year. Is a lot of it was like, that doesn't make any damn sense. They didn't play well. They didn't go out and leave it all on the floor and lose a close game where 2 teams played well. Like, they lost a lot of games where it was like, man, I thought both teams kind of played like shit, and Cincinnati still didn't play good enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, both of those Kansas State games, both of those West Virginia games, I didn't feel like any of those teams.
I mean, the first 10, 15 minutes of the home Kansas State game, like, that team did not want to be here.
No, they were asking to get blown out.
They had no interest in playing that game. And then when we dicked around, they were like, oh, well, we may as well win. We've already traveled here. So,
these guys are trying to give it to us. I guess we'll take it.
Yeah. So,
I mean, want to, but
I feel like we've had this conversation 3 times now, but, like, just show me the roster. It's kind of my mentality, like with football signing. It's like, I'll talk about the commits, but, like, let me know your roster. Who are we going into the first game with?
Yeah.
So
Do you want to talk any about UCF tomorrow, Dave?
No, not one damn bit.
Why not?
I don't know who's on. The only thing I know about their team is that 2 of their 3 best players aren't playing. So
no, only Keyshawn Hall is the only one that's gone.
Oh, Sellers is playing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, he's hurt. He's been hurt for a while.
Oh, okay. See, that shows you how much I am paying attention to Central Florida Golden Knights program.
Yeah, they've got everybody else. Darius Johnson and Jaden Ivey Curry and Mustafa Thiem.
Sure.
They've got a little bit of talent. They don't want to defend. And
did the good player from Oregon State that's going to Baylor now? Did he play? Is he playing in the Crown?
No, okay. He didn't play. Yes, he didn't play.
That's probably why they won.
By one.
Although Keyshawn also didn't play, so
yeah, 2 teams without their best player.
Right.
What an exciting atmosphere provided by the Final Fantasy MGM Grand.
Yeah.
I do think we all agree with that, Joe. I don't agree with the Jared Calhoun part. But in a year from now, we'll either be talking about a new coach or, boy, if not a new coach and they don't make the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're not. I guess a bunch of people aren't really familiar with the total nosedive that Utah State did at the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even counting the no call, no show first round game against UCLA. Like that started a month to go with the regular season.
Yeah.
As the brother of someone who watches a lot of Mountain West basketball, he was right in on that.
So yeah, either they make the tournament or we're in complete
Lord 1.0. Lord 1.
I mean, well, where did Dave go? Anyhow, it's not 500K, Jordan. It's 300K. 500K is the total prize pool. 300K to the winner, 100K to second, and then 50K each to third and fourth. If they don't make the tournament and we aren't talking about a new coach next year, yikes. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, Drew. I can't tell you for sure what's going to happen. I would think that that's the way it goes, but I have no guarantee that's the way it goes.
Nope.
That basketball segment brought to you by Turtles Brew. 6% ABV, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange, vanilla. There's more than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati and more than 100 in and around Ohio. For more information and locations, go to turtlesbrew.com for details. The funny thing is, Dave, I did not plan to go with basketball first. The chat dictated that.
Yeah. We listen to the people.
We do.
We listen to the people.
Instead, I was ready to talk about Dave had a chance to make it to spring practice on Saturday.
I didn't really get to watch much because I was chasing around a 5-year-old.
That's why you don't bring a 5-year-old to football practice.
Hey, I was, the wife watched him while the whole time I was in Reno. She wanted to do something with a friend. I could take him for a couple hours.
I will let you pontificate on your thoughts from spring practice while I get a refill on my water here.
Let's see. I put most of them on the board, but I will certainly in that practices report. But as is the case in spring practice, it's tough to sometimes judge the running game. Not a lot of contact. There was more in that practice. I still wouldn't call it like full on to the ground all the time, but I was impressed with the running backs. And I think that, if you haven't quite had the chance to listen to Coach Satterfield today, post-practice, he mentioned that it sounds like a recurring theme that the running backs are having a good practice, or a good spring camp, I should say. Was impressed with Tyree Walker. Manny Covey has had a good spring so far. Evan Pryor broke one, right up the middle, big hole, untouched. So, I mean, I think they are definitely 3 deep at that position. I think they all offer something different, which is nice. I would say Tyree is more in the Corey Kiner mold. We know what Evan is, and Manny's a great pass catcher. Hopefully he gets to carry the ball a little bit more this year. But I mean, how many carries are there going to be for the third guy? But the holes were there, so that's encouraging from the offensive line standpoint. I was really impressed. I think we're getting to the point now where we talked year one of the stark, just overall size difference when we were down on the field. Oklahoma game, Iowa State game. I think we are making strides in that area. The 2 freshman offensive linemen, Jeremiah Kelly and Zach Taylor, big dudes. Like, they are, as advertised, do not look like a typical freshman, do not look like the old, 6'4", 270, need to pack 40 pounds on a guy that we had before. So that is encouraging. The new kicker, he was booming balls. Several threw at what appeared to be 50 plus. Definitely 40, 45 plus, but there were a couple that he was definitely stretched out to the max, and I think he had one miss, but it wasn't even like he hit it that bad. I think he just maybe pushed it a little bit, but that was encouraging. I'm trying to think what else. Jeff Caldwell is a big outside receiver. I mean, he's the DK Metcalf, T. Higgins type dude. Now, I'm not going to compare him to those guys, but I mean, he is the 6'4", 6'5", 200 plus pound imposing outside receiver. I mean, now we'll see how his development continues, and he did have a pretty egregious drop on a deep ball auto touchdown in the end zone at the practice I was at. But I mean, you get enough balls thrown to you over the course of spring, you're probably going to drop one or two. So,
fortunately, that was not something we have seen a lot of.
Yeah, maybe the sun just got in his eyes. It was a warm, sunny day.
I think he just dropped it. I'm not going to lie. I think he just dropped that one.
Oh, I 100%.
But that has not been the case through the first 8 practices. He has been pretty sure-handed, especially surprisingly over the middle. Like, he has run a lot of variety of the route tree as opposed to just being, when you think of tall, fast guy from very, very, very small school, like, okay, he's going to take the top off, and that's about it.
Right.
But he's actually running a lot of routes. Digs and curls and drags and doing a lot more than I anticipated he would do.
What caught your attention today?
Well, there is a practice report up from today, so
I have not had a chance to read it yet.
The wide receiver room was a little fluid today. Guys getting a little dinged up or taking a bad step and checking out for a little while and checking back in, and nothing. It wasn't anything major, but the biggest name today for me was Elijah Jones, Dave.
Yeah.
Redshirt freshman who looks the part, and that we knew last year they were very impressed with how he came in and his work ethic and the way that he approached things. He was a guy that, it felt like when they were in 11-on-11, Sorsby was looking. I don't know if it was a matter of he was looking for him or he was open, so he kept going to him.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever the case was, it felt like every third or fourth pass was in the hands of Elijah Jones.
Yeah.
So that was promising. Wolfie, corner's going to be interesting. I talked about corner in the practice report today. Not from the perspective of, look, Matthew McDoom, I think, is going to be really good. Like, he has been solid. Like, I'm not looking at a whole lot of plays where he's on the field, and I'm talking about the ball being thrown successfully towards Matthew McDoom. The number 2 corner spot is going to be interesting. I think you'll likely see 3 guys kind of in play for that right now, at least. Ormani Arnold would be kind of the guy that got the most run there last year. Jordan Robinson, the transfer from Kentucky, is a guy that's in the mix. Logan Wilson, who moved from safety, is a guy that's in the mix. The past couple practices, Kai Stokes has been standing out a little bit. He had made a couple plays today, had a pick in one-on-one drills. But you know what I'm really impressed with, Dave, who my eyes keep going to?
Who's that?
The young guys.
Yeah.
Willie Goodwin, Daniel Jones, Gravy Johnson. Like, that next wave of corners, I'm interested to see as we get through the spring and through the summer to higher ground. I'm wondering if 1 or 2 of those guys can get into that 2 deep at corner. Because I think they're all incredibly talented. Goodwin made a couple plays today that he's a guy that I keep seeing 23 pop up in my notebook. Gravy is that kind of prototypical, long, lean, athletic guy with some speed on the outside that I think can help you. I was also pretty worried about corner going into the spring. I'm not as worried about it now because I think there are enough talented bodies there that they will get it figured out, even if it looks a lot different than what it looks now.
Yeah. I think it goes hand in hand. Like, I just want to see see them play the ball better than they have, and also like we just got to get more of a pass rush. Like, you're not.
Yeah.
The defense can take some steps, but it's not going to all of a sudden, more than likely, become some like top 25 level defense. So how opportunistic can you be? Like, the lack of interceptions the last 2 years, like, you're not helping your offense by not. You don't have to be a great defense, but can you just get some extra possessions? And can we get a rush? Like, I think I'm still more concerned about the rush element than I am the cover element. Like, yeah. I think we have enough guys that can hold up, but if you can't get a rush, like, it doesn't matter who you have back there.
Right.
Like, when we're not talking about first round picks that are just gonna turn and trail and stick on guys no matter how long they have. Like, they have to generate more rush. They have to be more disruptive at the line of scrimmage, and that's where the turnovers come from. Is when you very rarely does a corner just make a great individual play to intercept a ball that is not the result of disruption up front. That's not the result of the quarterback rushing a throw or anything along those lines. Like
getting hit, like getting his
arm.
There's
not a lot of interceptions where the quarterback has plenty of time to throw to the read that is the correct read, and the DB just makes a great individual play and intercepts the pass.
Yeah.
So they have to be able to get, and that doesn't even necessarily have to. I would love it if it resulted in sacks, but like they did not disrupt the quarterback much at all last year.
No, generally quarterbacks had plenty of time to just kind of stand in the pocket and figure out where they were going to go with the ball.
So we can complain. I think the complaints are valid. Like the technique I did not think was the right technique to.
Well, I do have, I always say this about that turn and find the ball stuff. You don't want a bad corner turning his head away from the wide receiver to find the ball.
No, they could play the ball better, but like but
you do not want a bad corner looking away from the receiver trying to do this. Good corners, you want to do that. Yes. Yeah. Bad corners, you do not want to do that.
But I'm just saying, like,
I know.
To me, it's much more predicated in the rush and being disruptive and causing more havoc. Like, they keep a stat, their havoc rate. Like, when we were really good, it was because we caused a lot of havoc at the line of scrimmage. Yep. And outside of Maije, there weren't a lot of sacks being made, especially Maize's last year. Like, he didn't have a lot of sacks. He didn't have like a statistically great season, but like they still caused a lot of havoc at the line of scrimmage. And that's where, even more so than just like the corners covering, that's to me where I need to see the biggest jump. And you're not going to see that in the spring. Dante's not practicing. You're not.
He was back today.
Oh, okay.
He practiced a little bit more today.
Like you're not.
Had the pants on.
You're not having a ton of reps of 1v1s and rush packages and nothing that you're going to see during the year. So it's me saying that it's not that I haven't seen it. I know what I know what we're going to see. So it's not even worth like really forming an opinion on. That's just more of an opinion for the season itself.
Yeah, it's also a little difficult right now because Cincinnati's trying to figure out what to do at tackle, both tackles.
Yeah.
So if there is pass rush, like you're still looking at it like, well, there was some pass rush today, but how much of that was actual like translatable? There's going to be more pass rush this year, and how much of it is they're still trying to get people up to speed at the two tackle positions, and they're rotating a lot, trying to find out like what, especially at left tackle. Like it feels like there's a new guy in there kind of every day where they're like, okay, today you're going to get your shot at left tackle.
That's what the spring is for. You got to get as much on tape as you can.
Yeah.
And
they're going to do everything they can to find a tackle in the portal.
Oh yeah.
when the spring portal opens. I
think that is it's not the only thing they're looking for, but I think that is pretty much the only priority thing 1, 2, and 3.
From my understanding, like they had money put aside for a left tackle. They didn't spend that money on said left tackle. They still have that money for said left tackle in the spring. Yeah. So guess what though? If any good left tackles go in the portal in the spring, there's going to be others looking for them.
Yeah, they're the only ones looking.
Any young guys on the D-line having a good spring? Marquez Parker, I think to be expected, has showed out some. Haven't noticed any. Other than Tim Griffin, looks the part. I haven't seen him really in the mix yet, but he hasn't been out there a lot with like the main guys. So hard to get a great gauge on him. I know Lindrick Barber's had a good day or two. Hasn't been super consistent, but that's a young guy in spring football. You're looking for those flashes. and then they build the consistency on top of the flashes. So it's a lot of older guys really kind of out there right now, and Micah Coleman and Jalen Hunt and Harris Adams, and
it's the same as defensive and offensive lines. You're going to have to be pretty advanced to truly make an impact as a 17 or 18-year-old. I mean, especially even the red shirt freshman. Like, you might get I think we talked about Marquise Parker last year because a lot of guys were hurt. Like, in an ideal situation, that guy never sees the field.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't so good that he jumped dudes. I mean, you were down several defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And he was the most advanced of the rest, which is good. And he needs to build off of that. But, like, it's a very hard thing to crack.
We have seen Jalen White McLean, who's a transfer from Old Dominion, flash a little bit from CJ McCray, who's the Virginia Tech transfer. But yeah, I mean, those young guys aren't going to pop right away. Linebackers look good. Simeon Coleman's been good. Obviously, Golday has been good. Jack Dingle had an interception today in coverage, kind of down or over the middle of the field, down the seam a little bit. I think linebacker play is going to be pretty impressive. Jonathan Thompson had a bone-crushing hit today on just a little like dump pass right at the line of scrimmage, and he just blew the thing up. So I think linebacker is going to be one of the strengths, if not the strength of the defense. And then the safeties had a really good day today. Harrison had 2 picks.
He evolved. Well, not anymore, but.
So yeah, and a Tyson Veit defense, this is what we talked about. Like, one of the strengths at Iowa State has always been that their linebackers make a ton of plays. Yeah. And if this defense is going to continue to excel, you're going to need to have those linebackers continuing to step up and increase their role and make some plays. Anything from Sorsby you saw that caught your eye?
Nothing out of the. I mean, no, not really.
Okay. Got anything else you want to talk about today, or are we doing a really short one this afternoon or this evening?
We might be. Who do we think is going to win the national championship?
I think Duke Houston is the de facto national championship game.
Really? You think Florida is not?
I mean, I think Florida can win the national. I mean,
any of these teams can.
I don't think Auburn can.
You don't think so?
I don't. I think if I was ranking them, I think Auburn would be 4th.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Would I be? I mean, I guess would I be shocked if they won? I kind of would, actually. I kind of would be shocked if.
Yeah, I mean, because that means they've got to beat Florida and then beat either Duke or Houston. Yeah.
But if I was ranking them, it would be 1 Duke, 2 Houston, 3 Florida, 4 Auburn. Now, Florida does have the one thing that they've got a dude that just keeps winning them fucking games.
What about him, just Walter Clayton Jr., just dribbling it into the paint and just being like, nah, and just dribbling it out to the 3-point line like he's taking it back in a game, half-court game, and then just turning it around and, like, he is, I mean, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but, like, one of the best shot makers, clutch shot makers that I remember in so long.
Yeah, I mean, and he's done it all year. Like,
and why did he not? Why did he not go to St. John's with Pitino?
I don't know. Like, that baffles me too. That Pitino had a chance on a team that can't shoot. Like, if you put Walter Clayton Jr. on that St. John's team,
buddy.
Yeah, they'd have been right up there, top 3 teams in the country all year.
Yeah, I mean, we were out to dinner, dead in the water, and just, I mean, he is on, but at the same time, like, Duke is so fucking good. That roster, like, we all talk about Cooper Flag. Their defense is unbelievable.
See, that's the thing, Dave. I think like everybody's talking about Duke's offense versus Houston's defense. I think that game has decided Houston's offense against Duke's defense.
Oh, I do too. Because, like, I mean, I don't care what defense you got. Like, you're not stopping Duke for 40 minutes. But, like, they're big dudes against Houston's, like, that's a great matchup. Who guards Cooper Flag?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's such a fun game. So, I mean, I thought going into like the last couple weeks of the season, I felt that Duke was the best team, and then Cooper Flag got hurt, and Malik Brown was still out, so I was kind of like, well, I mean, obviously that's totally dependent on those guys, but
sure,
it's hard to see them not. I mean,
they're the best team. Like, they're the best team.
I'm in a knockout pool with all my buddies. There's 4 of us left. I have Duke and Auburn left.
Here's the crazy thing, though, Dave. Like, I think I have Auburn comfortably 4th.
Yeah.
They also probably have the best resume.
Oh, yeah.
Like, brass tacks, the best resume is probably Auburn. They've got the best wins.
They have, like, what did I say, 20-something? Like, 26, 29 wins against tournament teams?
Yeah.
That might be an exaggeration, but, like, I thought I heard something similar to that.
I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen the trendy thing going around that in the Ken Pom era, which is 1997 to now, 4 of the top 10 teams in the history of the Ken Pom era, 28 years, 4 of the top 10 teams are in this Final Four.
But did you know that college basketball is dying?
Yeah, it's dying. It's dying because we don't get to see as many 14s beating a 3 and then losing by 20 in the next round.
It's like the most watched tournament in 30 years, but it's dying. I mean, I enjoy a nice upset here and there, but like, do I want this Final Four or last year's Final Four?
Right. I want this one.
These 4 teams, with the exception of Tennessee and Michigan State, like jumping in there at random points of the season, these 4 teams were by far the best 4 teams all year.
What did
why would I not want to see them play each other?
The Final 4 teams, there was a bigger gap from 4th to 5th than there was from 5th to 15th.
Yeah.
They were the 4 best teams all year, and they made it to the Final 4. Like, that's what I want. I want to see great teams
in an event that very rarely you get the best teams playing each other in the Final Four, or the best team. I mean, I'm not going to say it like if you win the national championship, you're the best team. I'm not going to be like, oh, the best team didn't win. But like, these are like, this year, truly, we can honestly say whoever wins the national championship was the best team in college basketball in 2024.
Yeah. Without doubt. Without question. I've got Duke. If Duke doesn't win, is it a major failure for Shire? I don't think so, because the field is so good. Like, if the young kids at Duke get bullied by the grown-ass men of Houston, I don't think that's a failure for John
it'd be
Shire.
one thing if they were like the prohibitive favorite against a bunch of like 3, 4, 5, 6 seeds that lost 10. I mean, Houston went 19-1 and won the conference tournament. Auburn won the regular season SEC, didn't win the conference tournament, but Duke won it all in the ACC. Florida, came on at the end of the year, won the conference. Like, I wouldn't say it's a failure.
No,
I'm still just kind of laughing that Houston went 19-1 in the Big 12. When in the preseason we were like, if anybody gets to 15-5, that'll be very impressive.
And that was the conference outside of Houston. Right? What was second?
I don't know. I mean, Arizona was they were the 4th seed in the conference, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't even remember. That's who they beat in the conference championship. But
Texas Tech was 15-5. Arizona and BYU were 14-6. We were dead on,
except for that one team.
Except Houston went 19-1. Yeah, the hard part is, though, if he doesn't win it this year, I mean, I'm not going to say they won't be back in, a similar spot next year, because he's got things kind of rolling at a pretty good rate right now.
Yeah.
But point being, like,
well, but I mean, like, Juwan Robertson, LJ Cryer, plus whoever else decides is a senior that I don't know. But I mean, that's 2 pretty integral pieces that you'll be replacing.
Yeah. Dave, your thoughts on Sean Abayev in the McDonald's game last night?
He made 2 3-pointers. That was nice to see. One closely guarded. Other than that, I do not care one bit.
He turned it over a couple times in the second half. That is something. Well, I only say that because it is something that he's gonna have to, like, adapt, where he likes to probe through traffic.
Oh yeah,
and that shit ain't gonna work in the Big 12.
No, he needs a much tighter handle than he showed.
It's not even that he needs a tighter handle; it's that he needs to know you cannot take the ball in tight spaces in this league,
right?
And think that you're going to get away with it.
Because guess what? They ain't calling fouls,
right?
when they
get hit on the arm
at you,
and the ball's going to get knocked away, and you're going to look at the ref, and the ref's going to
go. I don't know who you are. You think you're getting that call?
Right. But ultimately, yeah, he's a really, really good offensive player. I think they said he's been playing for a while now with the right hand injury, which tough kid, because a lot of those kids in those situations, he not only played his high school, he also played in OTE, and then doing the All-Star circuit on top of that. There's a bunch of kids over the years that, given that opportunity, if they had an injury, would just be like, nope, shutting it down. Yeah. I'll see you at Cincinnati in June. Doug Sermon will be a nice introduction.
Speaking of,
I don't know.
How do Tony Padilla and Doug Shows get to ref a Final Four?
And Doug Sermons. He's also in there.
How?
I don't know.
Those are the best refs?
Yeah, apparently that's that. I tweeted about this, Dave. If that sport wants us to take seriously that they are, like, in the business of having the best of the best call these games, and you put those guys on the list to the 11 guys that are considered the best of the best in the sport, and like 5 of them are dog shit. Terrible.
It's no different. Like the NFL, Ron Torbert ref the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It drives me crazy because, like, it just screams of, like, there's an old boy network of, these guys, because I don't, like, this, but I don't know how many people know this. A lot of the leagues, the officiating is scheduled by a retired official who is just buddies with, and then you just keep promoting your buddies into these games, and then you get to the end of the road, and it's like, well, this guy worked all these great Big 12 games, sucked ass, but this guy worked all these great Big 10 games. Wolfie, I think TV Teddy is good.
Yeah.
In comparison to a lot of these guys. Is it a show? Like, does the charge call and some of the stuff Teddy does, like, is it a little over the top? Yes. But in comparison to some of these dudes working the Final Four, Teddy's an incredibly good official.
His histrionics aside, very rarely did I hear like an actual criticism of his officiating.
Yes.
It was all about the gyrations and the coach stare downs, and like reffing the game, I don't think was an actual problem.
I don't either. I thought he was pretty good at reffing the game.
I did like the guys reffing the UC Crown game. They were literally like, how quick can we get to the blackjack table? They were like, we ain't calling shit unless you just try to like murder a dude. And UC somehow still racked up a bunch of fouls.
Yeah. Look, if you're going to let us be physical, we're going to be physical. We're going to try to beat the shit out of this team. Fouls be damned. But, yeah, I got Duke. Duke, Florida in the championship with Duke winning.
I mean, if Tyrese Proctor makes 6 threes every game, I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. The question you asked is the big one. Who does Houston use to guard Flag? I guess it's going to have to be Francis.
I mean, but he plays like 15 minutes a game.
I know, but he's the only one physically that has. Roberts can't guard him. I don't think Tugler can guard him.
Roberts and Tyler can't stay with him out on the perimeter.
No,
he runs up and down the court way too much for those guys to guard him.
I mean,
especially when he leads the break, like they're not used to guarding ball handler 6'9" guy.
Francis is the only one I can think of that would be suited to guard him.
I mean, do you almost have to like? Again, these are the guys like would have to play a lot more minutes than usual. It's like you almost go a little bit small and put like Malik Wilson on him. Like, because I mean, there's nobody can. They don't have a dude that like, he's not going to go down into the post and bang. So it's like
Archino. But Archino's only what 6'4".
Again, these are all dudes that are used to playing like 15 minutes at the most.
I know. I'm just trying to figure out who on that roster can guard him. And then Maluk or whatever, they don't have anybody that can do anything with him either. I'm not sure.
No.
Now they might try to break him in half if they try to throw like 10 lobs to him like they normally do.
Yeah. I mean they have it's not a great matchup because like whoever Cryer guards he's going to be well undersized. I mean Duke has like serious length.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're probably going to have to put Roberts on like Knipple, right? He's way too big for those Houston guards. He's 6'7".
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, somebody's got to guard the wing that. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. They're gonna be stretched out. Like, how good does Houston rebound when they're so stretched out?
Yeah. Duke, Florida. I'll take Duke, maybe comfortably. Although Walter Clayton's a bad dude.
Yes.
It's a bad dude. All right, I guess that'll do it. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of good conversation tonight. We tried not to get too repetitive because we've been talking about the same thing for a couple weeks. Hopefully by next Wednesday we'll have a whole lot more to talk about, and maybe a very special guest next Wednesday. That's the BCJ podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail. live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.